I love it. Oh, Kristie, thank you for jumping on with me live. It's such a pleasure to spend any amount of time with you.
Oh, back at you, girlfriend.
Oh, thank you. So we've known each other for a couple of years now. We met a couple of years ago, and we're friends online for a little bit before that. And we have traveled parts of the world together. We spent a lot of time together. We get along well. You are one of the most amazing women I've ever met in my life, and I feel so blessed to have you a part of my life. And today, rather than diving into business, because a lot of the time people want to interview us about business, I'd just love to have a deep dive chat with you about what it means to go all in. We are business women. We have amazing businesses. You're doing extraordinary things on the planet. I believe we both are. And for today, I just want to touch on, what it means to go all in outside of that. What it means to go all in as a woman with ourselves and having a family, and also just, I guess, in everything that we do.
I love that. I love that. And I love that this is really a conversation, because I feel like this is such a big piece that you really speak to, that you're so great at as well. And you actually taught me so much along my journey around like setting really healthy boundaries. And, for me, a big journey for me was, really like more of the business and the hustle and all of that. And you were like kind of more like the person who's really balanced and had boundaries and like, I was actually very discerning and did your goddess days and all of that kind of stuff. And you like inspired me so much with that. And I've definitely come into more balance over definitely this year has been probably like the best year of my life, because I've kind of come into, creating balance and in all areas of my life, which is super, super amazing. And so, which pieces do you really want to go into and dive into and kind of flesh out?
Firstly, before we do, I just want to touch on the fact that, in your journey and having watched you go from that full on hustle mode when I first met you to actually where you are now in the balance of that, it has been so beautiful to watch. And I remember, and it's such a pivotal moment in my life for what I'm a stand for, when I got off the stage at Freedom Fest, and you're just like a blubbering mess, and it was that crack open piece for you. And then I've seen you from then just really go layer upon layer, peel back. And that's been so beautiful, because I feel like there's so many boss women on the planet that are so driven, but they're not in that balance space. So I guess for you, like, what's been the biggest thing for you going from that full hustle and grind? And I know you still love the hustle with intention.
Yeah, of course.
What's been the biggest thing for you in stepping back from being all hustle to recognizing that there is a requirement for balance?
Yeah, well, like I guess something that I've really discovered this year is that I had this whole mentality that in order to like receive money and receive abundance, that you need to work really hard, you need to burn yourself into the ground, because that was what I saw, like, I saw my dad work really hard, and I saw that as kind of the thing in my life, right? And for me, like, I actually had a nervous breakdown a couple of years ago, because I was stuck in this kind of vortex of like working so hard and working 18 hours a day and burning myself out. And so really for me, like the biggest shifts have been to remove any of that kind of like slave energy that was there, that was like in the way of actually allowing me to receive money and be a businesswoman, but also to lean into like living like a life of pleasure and joy and enjoying like the freedom that I've created and removing all of that. And so like when you talk about going all in all areas of your, all in your life, it's like, I feel like, like it's not just about like, creating a business goal and a financial goal and all of that. Like if you're not giving love to yourself, if you're not nourishing yourself, if you're not giving yourself energy and space and time and, hanging out like with friends and actually just connecting without talking about business all the time or whatever it is, it's like there's going to be a part of you that's depleted, and there's going to be a part that's not like energetically lit up. And that was what I was finding, was that, I was receiving like so much money and my business was so on point, but there was a part of me that wasn't quite there. And so this year's been a really big self-love journey for me, and really just being like a present mother, being with my child, like really like saying no to things that Beforehand I would say yes to absolutely everything, like being really discerning with my time, being discerning with my energy, spending more time in like just, bliss and places that I really love. And so, it's been an amazing journey for me. And I really feel like I absolutely love that you're a stand for this, Allie, because it's important. It's a really, really important piece, especially for business women, because they can be so driven, they can be so passionate, they can be so like lit up by impact and really going for their goals and all of that. But if our energy is like off center, or we're off center in any way, then we're not going to have that fulfillment. And so, just really putting those boundaries in place and being really discerning with everything we're saying yes to, everything that we're saying no to. For me, like one of the things I would used to do is I used to have like massive FOMO. Like I'd feel like if I wasn't at an event, or if I didn't like go to like where this group of people were hanging out, like I'd have all of this FOMO. And then I was just like, well, hang on a sec. Like that's just like me not like that's just me looking for external like worth and love, right? And so like the love piece for me of like actually just being comfortable being like with myself and not needing to, show up on social media to receive love or receive likes or receive worth or anything like that, but show up just really now from a place of like, because I want to impact and serve. It's been a really, really beautiful journey. I'd love for you to share a little bit about on this piece, because it's something that is so big for you and you're so in your discernment and boundaries around this. And I feel like you've had a big impact on so many women's life because of that. And like you gave me permission to like start taking like goddess days, and like for example for tomorrow, like I've had all these like weird internet things just like happening over the last 24 hours, and I was like, I feel like I need like time offline. And like, when that happens and you're like, you kind of like what's the sign here, what's the thing? So I gave it meaning that I need some time offline. So tomorrow I'm like, I'm taking my day off, and I'm just like gonna go and enjoy my day. And that wouldn't be something I would use to give myself permission to do. But you've been a real stand for that, of like taking these goddess days and these like self-nourishment days and like really giving back to yourself, and what doing that and like, being a stand for that, actually then how that ripples out to every area of our life, so that we can actually show up as a better mother, how we can show up as a better leader, how we can show up with more energy and our cup really full.
Yeah. I think there's thank you, Kristie. Thank you. I think there's a misconception that we have to be doing all the time. And for me, Goddess Day was created almost 2 years ago. And you'll be happy to know on Thursday, something awesome is launching around that. I know. So Goddess Day, was created nearly 2 years ago. And there's so many women from around the planet that now have Goddess Days or Queen Days or Warrioress Days, whatever it is for them. And it's been really beautiful to witness that. And for me, it started because I had burnout. I was almost at actual adrenal fatigue. And I know what it's like to have high achiever codes and be a go-getter and have a big vision and a big mission. And what I also know is that it's not going to get us there by being burnt out. And it's not going to get us there by having, like what you just touched on before, by being depleted. And I feel like when we're not giving to ourselves first, like I'm my number one priority over my son, my partner, anybody else in my life. And some people find that really unusual that that's the case, because so many people want to give to everybody.
Selfish of you.
Yes, I am a selfish woman and I love it, and I will continue to be it. And I love it as selfless, and what a funny world we live in to think that it's selfish if we give to ourselves and if we love all over ourselves. I know for me that in doing that, it means that I can say no to my son. I can say no to other people. My boundaries are so on point. And, a few years back, I was in corporate. It's been about 3 years ago, around about 3.5 years ago. And I remember my boss saying something to me about boundaries. And you know how as humans, we connect pieces. So when somebody says something to us, or we're learning something new, we have a reference point from the past. And we give meaning to things. I had no meaning for a boundary. I didn't know what a boundary was. I didn't know how to set one. It was like learning a foreign language for me. And there were 2 pivotal books that I read, the 4 Agreements, which now you can get the 5 Agreements. Mm-hmm. And there's another one, it's same author, The Mastery of Love. Mm-hmm. And those 2 books, just small books, they supported me to begin to understand what it was like to create a boundary in my life. And it's been it's been something I've been focused on and doing. So yeah, I have epic boundaries. Those that know me often are triggered by my boundaries because they're so clear and so defined. And that fills my cup up. You know, I'm not afraid to say no, or I'm not afraid to upset somebody. And because I have so much love and I'm overflowing with that, I don't even really see when people are offended. I don't even really see when I trigger people unless they say something to me. So it's been really beautiful to be a stand for that, to be a stand for women taking time for themselves, to be a stand for women honoring themselves, having their own boundaries, speaking their truth, being visible, and making an impact at the same time, and being selfless with loving who they are. So yes, because of that small impact, which has been quite large, and you reaching out to me maybe would have been about 4 months ago. I remember you messaged me. There was no hello. There was no nothing. It was just like, do you want to sell your Goddess Day t-shirts at the next event? Which I haven't created them yet. They're in the pipeline. And
Freedom Fest.
Pardon? Freedom Fest. Yes.
Freedom Fest.
Yes. Done. Deal. Done.
Everybody that comes is like adopting Goddess Day. Like they leave there and they're like, fuck yes, one day a week is Goddess Day. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. They're just going to be like rocking Goddess Day.
Yes. Maybe I'll get some ones for the men to have Goddess Day shirts. That would be so cool to see men wearing Goddess Day shirts. So it was such a pivotal moment for me when you messaged me. It's like, you really need to start a group and you've got to take this. It's got to be a movement. It's got to get out there to the millions of women across the planet. And so I've sat on that and I've been brewing on that. And the timing's right on Thursday for me to actually launch a piece of that. And then the rest will follow. The shirts, there'll be all sorts of stuff. And I see that as an empire. So yeah, it's really cool. Thank you for really believing in me and encouraging me.
Well done. So good. It's epic. It's I feel like you're going to give so many women permission, you know, really that's what you're really creating. I think like, you know, you wanted to touch on like motherhood and stuff. And I think there's a real piece around motherhood where there's like, you can feel guilty for giving to yourself. And I know I had a lot of guilt. Like I brought up my child in an environment that was not, you know, kind of ideal, I guess, at the time. Our business was really blowing up. And I literally like had a home birth, and then 48 hours later, I was like on all these calls and like bringing up this newborn. It was just crazy. And I actually carried like a lot of this guilt for the last couple of years, and recently I've been doing work around it to clear that. I think as mums, we can get very caught up and, you know, and guilty of like, we're not with our children all the time. You know, like I've even had that because I have a nanny, right? Like for me, I don't actually see myself as a mum who's at home all day, like cooking and cleaning and doing all that. And you know what? I'm inspired as fuck by women who do that, by the way, because that I just am like, holy shit, like that to me seems like a hard job, you know? And I've actually had to give myself permission to actually be the mother that's like, okay, like for me, what works best so I can give to him and be really present is to have a nanny. But there is guilt associated sometimes with motherhood around giving to ourselves and taking time out and actually asking for help and asking for support. And, you know, like this stuff that comes up around like leaving our child for a few days or going and doing something nice for ourselves or going out to dinner with friends or whatever. And I feel like that is a real piece that, you know, again, like you see mums that are burnt out, that are tired, that are exhausted, that are literally just getting through the day because that's what they need to do as a mum. They need to have their shit together and just get through the day so that they can, you know, be there for their children. And so I feel like you're going to give a lot of permission to you know, not just women, but mums that might have this stuff coming up around, you know, taking that time for themselves and really, you know, giving to them in that way.
Yeah. And isn't it an interesting thing? I feel like the reason the guilt's there is because society says we should be at home with our kids and we should be doing it a certain way. And so we have these codings and these grids that happen where it's like, well, if you're a mother, you have to be this way. And I definitely buck the system on that because I believe that a mother needs to give to herself first. And if she doesn't, then her cup's not full enough to give to her child. And she's resentful and angry and cranky. And I see guilt as like I've experienced a lot of guilt up until a few years back with my son for things that had happened in our life. You know, I was in a really shitty relationship. My son has seen me pushed around. There was alcohol, there was drugs. It was just not a nice environment. And there was so much guilt around that. And there was a specific experience where I got angry at my son and I carried that for so long Timeline therapy supported me. That's why I think I'm such a big advocate for timeline therapy. It supported me to shift that guilt and not carry that anymore. So there was a freedom for me in being able to go and study that. And that's a big part of why I also am a practitioner in that is because we don't need to carry that guilt, and it's ingrained, and it's a cellular thing for us women, but it's also an environmental thing, and it's also a societal thing. And I'm with you 100%. The minute mamas can stop being martyrs because we want to do it all and we're not asking for support, I think the best thing you can do is have a nanny. The best thing you can do is say to hubby, I'm going out with the girls for the afternoon, take it. Whereas what I find with a lot of women is that, not you, but a lot of women that are burnt out and that do everything for their kids, they don't like asking other people for support. And that's a natural thing for us, right? Let's give, and give, but let's not receive. How dare we receive? And I think that paradigm is so old and done with now. Women do not have to be in that space anymore. Why not empower our children to not be slaves to their children? Because essentially that's what I feel we become, as slaves. If we're always there, we're doing everything, we're not asking for support. My dad taught me, and I love this, he taught me that we do not own our children, we're just here to guide them.
Totally. Oh yeah, I learned that as well around, we're not the owner of our child, like it's been gifted to us, and we're here to, support it. But yeah, no, we don't fucking own them.
No. And so why not let them have a life? And I know that's hard. There's a why not let them make their choices? Why not let them grow and evolve rather than have to do everything and bend over backwards? It's like, give them some freedom, teach them how to be independent. My son has been able to jump on a plane since he was, I think, about 7 by himself to go visit family.
Yeah, wow, that's epic. So good.
So good. Like we gift them in our gifting to self. So.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. Changing the paradigm.
Do it. And speaking of children, you have something really exciting to share.
Wow, yeah. I'm having another freedom baby. So epic. And it's been so funny, like what's come up for me to clear before having another baby. Like actually all this guilt that came up that I was experiencing kind of just like hit me a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, oh, wow, there's like some stuff there, like around this, like, oh, I've got a nanny. And like, I was feeling guilty around that. Like, oh, like, should I be spending more time with my child? And, and this and that. And like the guilt around when I had Venice. And I was like, oh, this is all coming up for me to like alchemize before I have another child, right? So that doesn't get to be something that comes into that, relationship around guilt. So yeah, but it's really, really exciting. Somebody asked me today, what is my win of, my week? And I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh, I always ask people this. Like, this is my thing that I ask people, like, well, what's your celebration? What's your win of the week? And get people to really acknowledge that. And then when that was asked back to me, I was like, well, what is my win? And then I was like, oh, I don't have morning sickness anymore. I haven't had morning sickness in about a week. So I'm like, yay, I feel like a normal human being again. I feel like I can actually function. Before my head was in a toilet bowl, I was in bed for what seemed like 2 months. Close to 2 months.
It's not fun, is it?
No.
It's not fun morning sickness.
No. But that was also a real permission piece, like, because we had this 90-day thing, right? This 90-day goal. And we had like all this stuff to achieve in 90 days. We had a vlog, we had a videographer following us around, all of this stuff. And then I was really sick with morning sickness. I had to just be like, listen, I just got to really surrender. And I just did stuff and that was a real permission piece for me. Like, I just did stuff whenever I could or felt like it, and then the rest of the time I was like, no, I don't. Like, if I had to cancel a meeting, I'd just be like, hey, I'm canceling this. I'm honoring myself. And that was a real great test for me around that surrender piece. And then really, really coming to the end of that 90 days and everything actually still coming to fruition and achieving everything and still getting heaps done in that 90 days, but just in a different way, just in a way of, surrender and flow and allowing like other like people to support and to, just in a different energy, which is really cool.
I like that. And there's a trust, isn't there? A trust in the co-creation with your own source, your own energy or whatnot, that you're supported, even though you committed to that and you couldn't do specific things. It's like you're still supported because your intention was there.
Totally. Power of intention, baby. It's everything. Power of intention every day.
I watched your vlog today, and it was just awesome. I saw a few of them along the journey, and yeah, it was just beautiful. I'm actually looking to work with a videographer next year. She's just sent me some info and have some vlogs up and going as well. I thought, all right, let's go to the edge, as you call it. And
Yay, that's awesome. That's so
yeah.
good. Yeah, well, our vlogs are like technically come to an end, and I'm like, nah, they're not coming to an end. Like I'm going to keep them going. So, because I'm going to do it for 90 days, right? But no, the vlog's going to stay. I like the vlog.
Yeah, awesome. And it was good. It's engaging, it's fun. People get to see an insight into your life because people only see one part, right? Usually on social media. I have a bit of a thing when people say that, oh, it's all bullshit. I'm like, no, it's not. You just get to see the parts we want to share.
Exactly. And that's okay. It's good to keep things a bit of a mystery. It's good to be curious. It's like, what if we actually did share every single thing on social media? Like, no, fuck that. That's like Big Brother. No thanks. Like, I'm quite happy to share like certain elements, and then I'm also quite happy to still have my life and my private life that's completely off fucking social media.
I would have liked to have seen the vomiting in the toilet. I'm bummed that Rory didn't capture some of that.
I know. There should have been some of that for sure. That would have kept it really real. You want to talk vulnerability? We would have got real vulnerable on the blog with that.
Something that just come up for me as well when you were sharing before was what I find is that with us women that are high achievers, that want to do incredible things on the planet, that are doing incredible things on the planet, that we all have support. And both of us work with a beautiful, well, I think we both work with two of the same women in our space, a healer and also a businesswoman. I have somebody else I'm doing some stuff with as well, and I feel like that's a really beautiful part of our support, is to have people, like, I love your take on this, is to have people that are like, they see things that we don't see within us, and they can support us with things that we may not share with other people, or they push us to our edges. What's your take on that, with being such an empowered woman, such a visionary, in having the support that you've actually got?
Yeah, I actually wrote a post on this a while back, and someone sent me a message and said, like, they were so fucking triggered, right, by me posting that, because I was sharing how I am supported in so many different ways, right? And this is I actually got off a call before. I was helping some friends of mine just like map out their 90-day game plan, and I was sharing with them how really, like, because they asked me, like, what was a bottleneck when I did my 90 days, and I was saying about, like, support. I didn't have enough support. I didn't have staff. And so one of the biggest things for me to actually achieve what I wanted to achieve in the 90 days was that I needed to lean into having support so that I could expand and so that I could create space in order to achieve what I wanted to achieve and work in my zone of genius. And making that first decision to bring on, like, the first person that I ever brought on was huge. Like, that was massive for me. Like, to pay someone like $800 a week to work with us was like, that was huge. I'd just gone from, like, not even being able to, like, I'm not even being paid $800 myself, like, let alone paying somebody else $800 a week, and then getting another staff member on, and then getting another staff member on, then getting a nanny, and then getting a cook, and then getting a cleaner. And so now, like, I think I wrote this post and it was like, I have a nanny, I have, I have a PA, I have, a videographer, I have a cleaner, I have a cook, I have, this whole support team, I have a coach, I have a healer that I work with, I have an energetic person that I work with, I have, like, this entire support team. I have someone that supports with, like, supplements and nutrition and stuff like that. And I'm like, but honestly, like, as busy women, like, we need that. Like, we need to give ourselves permission to actually like, that's an investment for me. Like, I could literally be like, oh yeah, I could save thousands of dollars a week. And I could, if I got rid of it all, I could save a fuckload more money. But it's an investment for me, and it's required for me to be, like, I cannot literally go back to the person that is constantly burnt out all the time, that is, like, dragging my eyeballs to, like, stay open. Like, I can't do that. I just wouldn't function. My nervous system is completely different now, and so I require that. And I feel like it's a real permission piece to, like, lean into that, and also be like, cool, like, even if it's a VA at the start, even if it's just somebody to support with certain things. Like, for me, I used to book all my travel, and it would literally take me, like, for me to book a hotel, no joke, I'm the type of person that goes through every freaking hotel there is. goes and checks out everything about them, like then spends all this time, and literally I could spend 8 hours booking something, and I'm like, no, that is ridiculous. Like I outsource so much stuff now because it's like there's just stuff that doesn't serve me. And so having a really strong support team, whether that's staff, but even if you're not even in business, having a support team, you know, people around you that you can, like, even just me having a coach that I can be like, hey, what do you think of this? Or can I run something by you? Like that in itself is just so supportive, because otherwise we just get so caught up in our own stuff, right? Trying to figure everything out ourselves, trying not to ask for help, and, you know, being like, oh, we can do this out, you know, we can do it on our own kind of thing. And that's like being this thing of women. And now I'm like, I'm so happy to just like be able to ask questions to people that are around me that can support me, and that are talented in what they do. You know, like I stay good at what I do, and then I get people that are good at what they do to support me. So yeah, having a support team is really, really crucial, like massive for me. And I think when I wrote that post, there was like 13 people on my support team. And then that woman was like super triggered. She's like, oh my God, you know, like super triggered. But she was also inspired, right? Like it was an inspiring thing. It was just like, for her, she was just like, you know, like in a place of things being really hard. Yeah. What about for you, like around support? Because I know that's a big thing for you as well. You've got a lot of people in your corner that you have, that you can, you know, that holds space for you so that you can hold space for others.
Yeah, I do. So for me, it's the basic things. And what I've heard when people are starting out on their journey, or if, you know, people, you don't even have to be in business for yourself. If you're working for somebody else, is that I can't invest in people. I don't have the money for that. You know, it's an extra, it's a bonus. And the way I see it is that it frees up the time. So it's that change of thought process, right? It frees us up to be in our zone of genius, like you just touched on. So for me, it's things like, and also like outside of the allowing us more time, it's the other thoughts. So I used to get really beat up on myself. So I used to beat up on myself every time I'd hop in my car and it wasn't clean. It'd be like, shit, I've got to clean the car. And then I'd feel like crap because it was dirty. And so that would continue on. Same with the house. It'd be like, because I was so like busy all the time, not that I don't really do busy anymore. I do not do busy anymore. There's like, I felt busy at the time. And so it was like, every time I come into my house, there'd be shit everywhere. And I'm like, these are not the things that light me up. Cooking. I'm not a cook. Like, I'm just not. It's like, it's not my thing. And I'm okay with that. It makes me feel crap in myself if I burn a meal, or it makes me feel crap if it's just not tasty. And so I'd rather go out and buy meals. I've had 2 chefs and I found I was wasting a lot of food. So I just buy what I need, prepackaged good stuff, or I'll go out and have it. So for me, my support team is, I have someone who comes to my house once a month and cleans my car. I have a house cleaner who comes every fortnight. I have a VA. I have a spiritual coach. I just stopped with my business coach. What other support do I have? Oh, there's been, I think that's my network at the moment, but I have had the chef, and I have had the Facebook ads manager, and all of that, just to come into the team environment, so that I'm not having to spend my time on the things that I do not love. And yeah, and now that I'm expanding out even more, I will need more support in my, I think a PA would be really good as well. So that'll be probably my next investment. Scott, someone who does my books. Yeah, I think it's really important. Otherwise, imagine how much time you would spend on all of that stuff. Like,
I just couldn't even imagine. No.
Yeah.
Cooking, and then I got to this point, I'm like, oh, I think I just said I loved cooking, just for the sake of like thinking I loved it, and I was like, I actually don't like it at all. Like, I'm really happy to never cook again. And now I'm like, I get in the kitchen sometimes, I'm like, what would I even make? So there is a part of me that's like, no, come on, be a little bit human and just fucking cook something every now and then. So you actually remember. Yeah, exactly why. Exactly. No, it's really important to have people in your corner, and not to think of it as like it's a cost, but it's an investment to yourself, and it's an investment to to you living your best life. And you know, I've found, to be honest, like each time that I do hire somebody new, there is this like almost like like fear or something that arises, and then like honestly, like I'm like, it all just works out. Like it's all fine, because I'm giving myself more permission to have more space, you know, to do the things that, you know, to be present, to work on myself, to do the things that I'm good at, and and have people that support with the rest. So
yeah, fully with you on that. Also, one other thing, and it's not a paid thing for me, is I'm a part of a mastermind with two really good friends of mine. So we sit at the same around the same level in business, and we bounce with each other. So we're there to support each other purely from that perspective of, hey, I've got this coming up. Every fortnight we jump on a call, we each get half an hour, and it's held to that. And whatever we do, whatever we need support within that time, that's where we get to share and get to ask for support. So that's been really beneficial for me as well in business, to, just to have women in my corner where there's no ulterior motive, where there's no, girly chit chat, which I love when I'm with my girls, but just literally solid focus on, hey, here's where I need support right now in my life. That's been awesome.
Yeah, that's huge. I actually have just become a part of a group similar to that, where we do like a dinner every month, and we just like, we have dinner and we have this, you know, beautiful conversation. And yeah, it's really like not being there to mentor each other, but being there from a place of, hey, you know what, like we're all doing epic shit in the world, and we also all need support. So like being really real with where things are at, and actually asking the group like, hey, this is where I need support. So for me, I want to have an epic birth. Like I'm talking epic birth where it's like pain-free. It's like a fucking epic experience. So my thing, like, it doesn't have to be about business, but I was like, if anyone knows of anyone that like supports people to have the most amazing birth ever, like, let me know. And like, you know, like having this group of women, it's like, cool, I know this person, or I know that, you know, like it's really great to have that support network of people, you know, not that are just coaches that are mentoring you, but people that are on a similar path that you can just connect with. And like love and connection is our biggest thing, right? So yeah, that's been a big thing for me, and filling my cup up with that like women time, and just like having that adult time. Because as a mom as well, we get so used to like every night it's like, cool, like read a book, do a bath, put the kids to bed, you know. It's just like, no, like, yeah, fuck, sing a song, wait for 2 hours before they actually go to bed, and you know, and like just to go out and actually have a different conversation, and all of that is really important.
It's inspired me. I've seen a couple of posts you put up on it, and seen the lady who's running it, some of her posts, and I'm like, oh, I think I might start something like that here where I live. It looks amazing.
It's amazing. It's so cool. It's been really, really epic. So
love it.
Yeah.
All right. Last things.
Yeah.
What is your favoriteest movie of all time?
Oh my God, favorite movie. Far out. I'm not really much of a movie person, to be honest. But I will have a favorite. Actually, you know what was my favorite was that, what's it called? Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. That would be my favorite at the moment. That is just like, that got me on all levels. I don't know what it's called. I'm so not like a movie person. I just like watch movies every now and then, but that would be it for me right now.
Awesome. Love that. Yes, I do love that. A Star is Born.
Yes, Star is Born.
Nice. Okay. What's the favoriteest place you've ever been to?
Santorini.
Nice. Yeah, your photos were exceptional from there. Beautiful. And what's something that a lot of people don't know about you? Like, what's an intimate piece about you that's not something that is broadcast all the time that you're happy to share?
Oh, fuck. An intimate piece.
Could be like what brings you to your knees in joy, or like for me, time around animals makes me like want to cry. And I watch
I think being around anything makes you want to
cry. I know. Animals more so. Lucas said something to me yesterday about see, you really do like people, don't you? Because I had this thing for a while where I didn't really like being around people. And he didn't like me saying that. I said to him, yes, I do. However, if I had the choice between only animals on the planet and humans on the planet, I would choose animals every day. It's like every day of the week. Anyway, so something like that's not
okay, here you go. There's something that's coming through. And this is something that I guess, I haven't shared, but I'm working through at the moment. So let's look at that. So for me, I feel like for so long I've been like pushing away like really deep connection, like love and connection. Like I'm all about community and connection and all of that. but like to actually really deeply connect with someone is like scares the fuck out of me. Like I'm like, can I trust this person? If I get too close to this person, are we then gonna like have something where we're not as close anymore? And so like I protect my heart so much. And so that's actually really big piece that I'm working through at the moment, of like acknowledging that and being like, hey, I have been this person that's been like a little guarded, and like, you know, like, cool, yep, you can get close, you can come close, but not too close. Like, I don't want too close. So yeah, you know, I was going to write a piece on this anyway, eventually, but yeah, that's a big piece for me of like, yeah. And it's interesting you say about timeline therapy. So I did this amazing session with the Actuarian Council, which I won't go into because, yeah, it'd take me a while to explain all of that. But they were saying about like, yeah, doing the timeline work around where did that first occur of like this fear around like deep connection. And so yes, I get to do that. I get to do that work, and really, yeah, I want to open more of my heart and deeply connect with people.
Amazing. Well, I know somebody if you need some support with that.
I know a great lady. I do know a great lady.
Oh, great lady.
Right in front of me. Yeah.
So funny. I love it. Oh, that's awesome. And I will see you on Thursday.
Oh, fuck yes. I'm so excited. Oh my God. It's epic day.
I'm looking forward to that as well. For those of you that aren't aware, Livia, who channels the Actuarian Council, is going to be in Byron Bay. So we'll be down there for a day of tapping into the Actuarian Council.
Who knows what's going to happen?
Oh, not sure yet, but I'm excited anyway. So thank you so much for joining me. You are an incredible woman, and yeah, I just love what you're doing and what you're creating and who you are and what you stand for. Thank you.
Thanks, love. Love you so much. Thanks for having me on. This has been fun.
Pleasure. I'll see you Thursday.
Okay, bye.